In this crypto update, I want to cover, of course, what's going on with Bitcoin, altcoins, but specifically, I want to talk about the one that everyone is going crazy about, and that is UNI, Uniswap's governance token. Let's get started. As always, let's start out with Bitcoin. 10,873, that's not bad. Since last week, it has been coming up from 99.40. The red line is coming up. And it broke 11,000 a few times. Couldn't hold, it came back down, but still, it's on a very slow trajectory up. And that's what we want to see, right? Volatility is pretty much gone. The number of holders is getting higher and higher. Number of speculators getting lower and lower. You know, with what's going around the world and more financial people and experts coming out and saying to buy Bitcoin, that's very, very positive. And there's an article I want to share today also about basically a whole state that's going to be supporting Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, which is very, very positive. So as for altcoins, today's kind of a mixed day. Just like yesterday, there are some that's in green, some are in red. Overall, it's kind of balancing out. There's not many movements or big movements with a few exceptions, and the one is Uniswap, and I'm gonna get to that at the end of this video. But that is the one that's going crazy right now. DeFi is still in a crazy place right now, for better or for worse. But yeah, outside of that, if you look at the others like Ethereum, Binance Coin, Chainlink, Litecoin, Cardano, EOS, you know, it's like up and down, but pretty flat. Neo, on the other hand, is still doing very well. Neo, a lot of excitement over Neo 3.0. It has been climbing the charts quite a bit. VeChain is also doing very well today, so good thing to see VeChain coming back up, nearing $1 billion. So overall, altcoins are kind of steady, just like Bitcoin, right? Kind of just like doing its thing, slowly climbing up, and that's what we want to see. And the market cap is slowly climbing up, and BT's dominance is still holding about 57%. Of course, recently it did go above to about 60-something%, and it was as low as 53%. So right now it's kind of in the middle. All right, what else is there? Well, I mentioned about a whole state supporting Bitcoin, and that relates to this. Kraken becomes the first crypto exchange to charter a U.S. bank. This was approved a couple of days ago, and Kraken is one of the US-based exchanges. They've been around for a long time. They're definitely not one of the bigger ones, right, that most people talk about, like Coinbase or Gemini or even Bittrex. Kraken's kind of like the number 4 or 5th, but this is pretty significant. They're the first crypto exchange to charter a U.S. bank license, so they're going to be regulated as a bank, but that gives them a lot of leverage to do a lot of things. So it's very different. Even Coinbase and Gemini, they don't have a banking license. And take a look at this. The governor of Wyoming, because this is where they got approved. Mark Gordon. Today, Wyoming becomes the first state to approve a bank charter for digital assets. This will allow those using digital assets like cryptocurrency to access reliable financial services, protect consumers, and allow businesses a way to safely hold digital assets. I think this is very positive, very bullish, right? The state could have approved it and kind of just, kept quiet about it, or, just made no announcement at all, right? It could be just something like, oh, we have no choice but to approve it, but we're not going to talk about it. But no, this is pretty public for the government to actually come out and fully endorse it, right? Not just like shy away from it, fully endorse it and say, hey, we approved it. We are an open-minded state, and we're going to allow exchange to basically provide reliable financial services, and we're going to allow them to protect consumers and allow them to safely hold digital currencies. That's a big deal. If Wyoming is the first state to do this, you figure other states will start looking at this and say, hey, maybe we need to adopt this too, right? So recently, not just recently, in 2020, things are definitely different. A lot more people, states, governors, financial institutions, businesses, hedge fund guys, all these guys, they're starting to open up to the fact that Bitcoin and crypto in general is here to stay. They're not evil, and we need to embrace it. So very, very, very positive. What else is there? I found this to be kind of interesting. Nvidia doesn't want to give up its 2017 crypto craze documents. So there's someone that's suing Nvidia, saying that they misrepresented how much money or revenue that Nvidia actually had or made in 2017. And they claim that they purposely fluffed the numbers because at that time, Bitcoin and Ethereum was doing very well. Nvidia was selling graphic cards left and right. And, this plaintiff is arguing that Nvidia actually, purposely inflated numbers to make their numbers look good. Their stocks went up and they actually sold. I think, $147 million worth of shares at artificially inflated prices. And Nvidia is fighting back, saying they don't want to give up the documents from their 2017 days. Right, so we'll see. I don't think Nvidia is such a big company. I don't think they pulled any shenanigans. But if they are forced to give up the docs, and somehow it does show that they artificially inflated their numbers, which inflated their stock price, that would be horrible for Nvidia. They are one of the biggest tech companies now in the world. I mean, remember a few years ago, a decade ago, Intel was still the big boy. Intel has been doing very bad recently. AMD has jumped up tremendously, and Nvidia is one of the big FANG stocks, right? So they're a powerful player in the industry now. So we'll see. I just found this to be quite interesting. What else is interesting is the police now summoned Bithumb's chairman for alleged fraud. So when this first came out, it appeared that this was just FUD, right? But now there's a lot of people that's confirming, no, this is actually legit. There's a couple of chairmans or co-founders of Bithumb, and supposedly, they came out with a token, BXA token, and supposedly they did stuff with it they're not supposed to with it. They're accused of multiple fraud and embezzlement offenses regarding the failed listing of BXA token. Caused investor damage up to 30 billion won, $25 million, right? And they're looking at what's going on. Supposedly there's overseas property purchases, offshore investments that came from this. So this is pretty serious. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, you never want to hear about exchange having problems or being hacked or going down. But we still hear things about it. So hopefully this doesn't mean that it's the end for Bithumb, because these are chairmen. Even if they get removed, I'm sure the exchange will continue forward. But yeah, it just kind of sucks. Kind of sucks that you still hear about this kind of stuff that's going on. All right, now let's talk about the token UNISWAP. UNISWAP, the very famous and most popular DEX right now. They made a huge announcement yesterday. Basically, they don't want to be the only DEX out there that doesn't have their own token. So UNISWAP decided out of the blue to airdrop a ton of UNI tokens. So this is going to be their governance token. This is the reward token now. And this has caused a huge commotion. Okay. And it has gone up over 1,000%, and it continues higher. It was listed at like 30 cents when it first came out, and now it's trading at over 640 last time I checked. It is insane. So this is the biggest thing. If you look at DeFi Pulse right now, the total locked-in value continues to come back up. Ever since it hit 9.6, it came back down to 6.82, but now it's coming back up. And take a look at Uniswap. It has jumped up 82%, locked in value at $1.5 billion. So how this works is basically right now, if you're a liquidity provider, you're going to get portion of the UNI that's supposed to be released. So that's number one. But if you've used UNI or Uniswap in the past, if you created accounts and you made any kind of transaction, every single wallet that you used will get 400 UNI. So if you just log in, Supposedly you get it. I didn't create one before, so I can't verify, but that's what's going on. And some people are getting very, very, very rich off of it. I've seen people say, hey, I checked my 4 wallets, like Coinbase wallet and MetaMask and all this stuff, and I have 400 UNI in each one. It's a lot. It's a lot. If you calculate current prices, it's actually worth a lot. So this is the big thing right now. Everyone is going crazy with it. So I mentioned about it going above 1,000%. So take a look at where it is now. Even today, 122%, 616 market cap is at $600 million. This could be a good thing. And here's why. Because there's so many people that has a distrust in centralized exchange, right? So for example, Binance, one of the biggest ones, people hate Binance because they don't trust CZ, because there's been times where Binance has done questionable things. For example, how much they charge projects to get their tokens listed. Also, there's been accusations about, insider trading. Also, the tight relationship with Tron, and they helped Tron to kick out Steam. So there's been distrust in Binance. Same thing with Coinbase. People hate Coinbase because they get their accounts get locked out for no reason. They get kicked off. They can't get customer service. So there's a yearning for DEXs, decentralized exchanges, right? Because that's one of the fundamental things about blockchain and crypto is to be decentralized. So Uniswap is filling that purpose. It's a DEX, right? So rather than worry about liquidity, right? They basically have liquidity pools that users contribute to. So they make it really easy. I'll admit I haven't used it myself yet. I looked at the interface, it's quite easy. But what's going on right now with DeFi, with yield farming and all this stuff, DeFi is definitely hot, which is why there's so much locked in. And the other good thing about having so much value locked in is it curbs volatility, right? So now people, basically they park their crypto and just don't worry about it. They're either staking for interest or for yield farming or whatever. They could have it in a DEX because they're looking to make a trade. They could be putting it in to lend out. There's so many reasons why. So that's also a good thing. This is, some people think it's ridiculous. I also think too that they could release a token out of thin air and it's now worth $600 million, right? It seems like it's utterly ridiculous that should not happen, but think about every other crypto that's in this space. They did the same thing. They sold either through ICO or IEO, or they just airdrop tokens, and the value is based on what someone else is willing to pay for, right? That's how it works. So is it ridiculous? Kind of, but that's how crypto works, right? And I didn't know this too, but when Uniswap launched this, they launched UNI, all the big exchanges, like Coinbase was number one. Coinbase just said, we're listed. Binance, of course, followed. And that's because I didn't know Coinbase actually invested $1 million into a couple DeFi projects, Uniswap and Pool together. So Coinbase, obviously being a centralized exchange, one of the bigger ones in the space with a ton of money, they don't want to just let DEXs run wild, right? They want to pay attention to them. So I think that's what this investment is for. But now Uniswap is gaining a lot of attention. So quite interesting. Of course, Uniswap, their biggest competitor now is SushiSwap, which isn't doing too very well. It's under $2 again, but it still does have a ton of liquidity in there, 522 million. We'll see if it could come up, because right now all the attention is in Uniswap, because SushiSwap kind of did that to Uniswap, right? Pulled a ton of liquidity out because they were giving out sushi. Now Uniswap is pulling them back in because they're giving out UNI. So it's kind of like payback time, right? So can SushiSwap come back? Certainly, but right now I wouldn't bet against Uniswap. And since we're going with foods, there is another one that's coming out called BurgerSwap, which works exactly the same way basically. The difference with BurgerSwap though is they're going to be supporting BNB. So this is actually, according to this article, actually helped pump up BNB. So is this going to continue? Is there more DEX that going to come out? Is there going to be more DeFi coins coming out? Yes, there will be. Of course, when things pump up, you got to be careful. Nothing that goes up that fast ever stays up that long. Usually it does come back down, but with Uniswap, I'll just put an asterisk there because it is backed by Coinbase and several other investment companies that are quite big. They definitely have the momentum. They're definitely the biggest DEX out there that people are using. And this new UNI token is giving them even more momentum. So can it continue? Can they possibly go up to $10 or $12, double where they are now? I would say yes, because if they doubled from where they are now and go up to $12, the market cap will be about 1.2 billion, and that's still within reason if you think about it. I mean, you look at what else is up there. There's a lot of projects up there. I mean, Yearn Finance is still above it, and a lot of these other ones are multi-billion dollars, right? So can they double from here? Quite possibly, but they could also drop 50% from here too. So you just got to be careful. You got to be careful. Unfortunately, I was planning on doing a live session this morning. I actually started it, but YouTube's notification system for live sessions is just not working. I had a very low turnout rate, so I decided to postpone it. That's why I'm creating this video. Hopefully, I will have a live session either tonight or over this weekend. I'll pick a day and make up for it, a better time that most of you guys will be able to participate and enjoy. But in case you're not getting my notifications, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I have my handle down below. Every time I do a live session, I post it on there. I give advance warning. So if you don't want to miss my next one, then make sure you follow me on Twitter so you don't miss out. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel. And stay tuned for my future videos. Take care. Bye-bye.